This special. All right, let's try it again.
All right.
All right. This special spoiler ep is brought to you by Squarespace.
Yeah.
The all-in-one platform that makes it fast and easy to create your own professional website or online portfolio.
Spoiler alert, you can save money by using coupon code CFN.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, spoiler alert, Chris. Spoiler alert.
That is awesome.
Spoiler alert, Squarespace is great at designing your own website.
10% off CFN.
Boom. Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert.
Please be advised.
Spoiler alert episode. Spoiler.
Please be advised. Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. Hello, everybody. We're back with a spoiler ep.
A double spoiler.
Double spoiler ep. Yeah, we haven't done one since The Hobbit in late December, and we're sorry. We've been busy, and it's summer movie season, so now you guys, you are owed some spoiler eps.
Captain America and Spider-Man 2.
Yes, Captain America and Spider-Man.
Spider-Man?
double mashup spoiler ep. Very excited. So, anybody new to the spoiler eps? We obviously have to do this. We're going to talk about key plot points in both Captain America Winter Soldier and Spider-Man 2.
Especially the endings.
The endings. We're going to go into the endings. So if you...
But here's a spoiler. Only one of them had one.
One spoiler alert. One of them was watchable.
Yeah.
We're going to give away the Stan Lee cameos.
Yeah, we'll give away
sure.
Yeah, we'll do it all. Mm-hmm. That's what spoilers are all about. We'll give away the things at the end, the little buttons that they put on the end of them, and one movie really good at doing them. One of them just put a fucking ad for X-Men in the middle of the credits, which was so dumb. So this is what this is, guys. Get ready for some spoiler eps. This is, I believe, our guest's second spoiler ep. I think we did a Lone Ranger spoiler ep.
That's right. Yeah.
Pat, ladies and gentlemen, from Never Not Funny, and what's your other podcast?
Rock Solid.
Rock Solid. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Pat Francis.
Hello. I said I wasn't going to talk until they told me to talk, and then I talked.
Oh, way to go.
Edit it
Spoiler alert.
Edit it out.
No, we don't edit shit on this show.
No,
We're keeping in Crips. We're keeping in
Crips. The
Keeping it
Crips.
real.
Oh,
Yeah.
is this why you said Crips?
Yeah, because you
you're
have
wearing
a blue bandana.
Blue bandana on.
Yeah, so the Crips and Bloods are here.
Yeah. They're fighting the gargoyles.
Yeah, Chris fumbled through the pre-roll. I think we leave it in there. I don't want to edit that. I want to leave it in.
I hate editing anything.
It's dumb. This is podcasting. It's supposed to be real.
Yeah, man.
We're dirty hippies. Yeah. Hey, man.
It's the only way you're going to do it.
Yeah.
How are you going to feel organic?
Has there been a movie since between The Hobbit and Captain America? Was there any movie that you could have had a spoiler episode on?
I think, here's the thing with the spoiler eps. Chris and I have talked about this. Yeah, it sort of started as big budget Hollywood movies. But I think we could do one for anything.
Philomena?
We could do a Philomena. Why not?
If we had to. But I will say, this is the only time that we've actually gotten emails. Hey, are you going to do a spoiler ep on Captain America or Spider-Man?
Right. So,
We didn't get a request for a her spoiler ep.
There wasn't a Dallas Buyers Club spoiler alert. I don't know. I think obviously, the big budget ones are more geared toward, but I think we're just going to try to do them whenever we can.
You should.
Yeah.
You should do something tiny.
Yeah, like a little indie film.
Yeah.
Well, maybe we'll do The Fault in Our Stars.
Ooh, that'd be
for a spoiler.
Did you read that? I read that book.
Really?
It's my daughter. It's my oldest daughter's favorite book, and she goes, we read my favorite book, and so you have to read it.
The movie looks very good.
The book is really great.
Right.
It
It's
really
one
is
of those
great.
like tearjerker.
I've told this, I haven't told it to you guys, but so my daughter went to Japan for 2 weeks last summer. Mm-hmm. So I said, while you're gone, I'm going to read your favorite book. So as I'm reading the book, there's a part in the book where the main character, the girl, goes out of the country. And while she's out of the country, in the book, her dad in the book reads her favorite book. And I don't want to do any spoilers if you don't know. But when I came to that part, I was like, what the? When she came home, I go, you did? She goes, I knew when you got to that part.
Oh, that's great.
It's crazy.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
That's really cool. Well, I guess I'm gonna make a daughter and then
send her to Japan.
Before we go to Japan, no, we're gonna go to Japan.
Yeah.
I'm gonna read my favorite book.
Yeah.
Read that book on the plane.
She's gonna read Flashing Steel which is a samurai sword training manual. This is Daddy's favorite book. How to eviscerate a foe.
It's not an autobiography on Remington Steele.
That's what it is.
Steel. Sounds like
I've always been a Remington Steele guy from day one.
well,
By Pierce Brosnan.
anything Doris Roberts does, I'm on board.
Of course, you have to be. All right, so let's
talk about Captain America, the Winter Soldier.
And how smart is Marvel to release Thor in November and then Winter Soldier, not in the summer, but like in April, even before May. Like they were like, we're going to drop it in April.
I think that what they're doing is like, we're going to put the summer movie season on notice. It's starting when we release our movie.
Right. We're going to have a Marvel movie every 4 months. So suck it.
Yeah, and also, and it's something we've talked about on this show numerous times. Hollywood thinks that January through March or April is this dead zone.
And it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. It's because they've made it a dead zone.
They've made it a dead zone. And there's every once in a while there's a crazy example like there was 300. There was, I think 2 years ago, was that Navy SEAL movie that came out, and that they're just like, wow, who knew anyone wanted to go to the movies? The whole country's stuck in a snowstorm. Yeah, they want to get out of their house and go to a movie.
And occasionally a horror movie will hit at that time. Yeah.
But normally you get the Mark Wahlberg C movie is like dumped in. I mean, there's Contraband or something. It's like what the
something that's been on the shelf for 18 months that they don't have anywhere else to put.
I'm telling you, if we were ever given real money to make a decent film, whatever, be a comedy, action, I would insist on like February release date.
Yeah.
Like, do it. And they go, I don't know. Do it. Pick a weekend where, again, Contraband 3 is coming out and, the Saw 15 or whatever, let's go that weekend.
Or a Katherine Heigl movie.
Yeah, or Katherine Heigl movie, and we'll clean up. So, yes, Marvel has been... And let's be clear here, since we're doing Captain America and Spider-Man, Marvel is different from Sony, as these two movies will demonstrate.
Yeah.
Even though Spider-Man technically is a Marvel character, but Marvel Studios owns and runs all of these Avenger character movies, and that's why they're so good.
Yeah, and it's, and Disney actually has dedicated people that are only working on the Marvel Universe.
Right.
They literally, that's all their job is.
That should be.
So, exactly, it should be. And the only reason Sony still has Spider-Man is because of that horrible deal that Marvel signed that says, well, if we keep making movies, we retain the rights to the characters. So Sony's making these movies. I mean, the first one was obviously very rushed for Spider-Man. Now there's another one. So they don't want to let go of these franchises.
Yeah.
And it's hurting the integration of the Marvel Universe in other ways. But let's be honest, too. Disney, the lawyers are going nuts trying to get these characters back. But they're doing amazingly even without them. Like it's not like, all right, well, all right, we'll deal with it. We'll make these amazing movies, and you could put the rhino in the end for 4 seconds. So
it's so yeah. All right, so let's focus on Captain America.
Yeah, let's do Captain America.
So first of all, the release date was great.
It was great,
and we all liked it.
Yeah, fantastic.
I loved
movie.
it.
Yeah.
I thought it was one of the top four Marvel movies for me.
Put it in the order. Like where do you put Captain America? Winter Soldier.
Ghost Rider. Elektra. Punisher Warzone. Ang Lee's Hulk. And then Winter Soldier.
And
we're going to need to ask you to leave.
And Roger Corman's Captain America.
Ang Lee's Hulk.
You know what's funny is when I can't like the 4 Marvel movies that I like are, to me, they're all equal. I can't even put one over the top. I love Iron Man. I love Winter Soldier. I love Captain America. I love Iron Man 3. I love Avengers. I love X-Men First Class. I mean,
I think I agree with you. This was probably one of my favorites,
yes.
Even though I've liked all of them. This is probably one of my favorites too. And one of the reasons was that and I hope Marvel continues to be able to do this. They keep surprising me with these movies, like what they did with the Mandarin in Iron Man 3. Didn't see that coming, but
I did not see it coming.
And
either.
the destruction of S.H.I.E.L.D. in this movie, I thought it was so perfect, and it didn't feel like tacked on at all. I was like, this is so organic to the story. Like you have, because S.H.I.E.L.D. is a shadowy organization. It's like, wait, maybe they do have a little bit too much power. All that stuff gets addressed, and then you have Hydra, and then you have Captain America going, you know what? It all goes. Yeah. All of it. And it's like, well, no,
that was bold. A bold ending to
Yeah.
choose. Like, we're smashing this. And this is the thing, to go back to the point of why all of these Marvel movies have been so great. Like, an interview with, who directed Iron Man 3?
Was that Shane Black?
Shane Black.
Shane Black.
And that set up our first bold move from Marvel. I mean, that was crazy.
And Shane Black it was funny, in an interview, like Robert Downey Jr. asked him, well, if we do this in Iron Man 3, how's that going to do for the next Avengers movie? He goes, that's not my problem.
That's not my problem. Let them figure that out.
Let them figure that out. And it's like, that is actually, it's good because I'm going to get a little broad here, but it's some of the problems with TV, with good TV, is they have this, we got to keep this person alive, or they're under contract. It's like the show Homeland, which I really like. Every time I watch Homeland, I'm like, the second season, I'm like, there's no fucking way.
Right.
And you're just doing that TV thing of, then as an audience, I'm like, well, I know this person can't die or isn't going to go to jail. Like Sons of Anarchy, I'm like, that fucking town would have been shut down.
I know.
You know what I mean?
Well, then you watch like Game of Thrones or Walking Dead, everyone's at risk.
Oh, yeah.
And that's what
how
makes
it should
those shows
be.
great.
That's how it should be.
And so when they do that with Iron Man 3, you're like, oh, fuck.
I know.
So coming
great.
into Winter Soldier, I mean, they end Winter Soldier with, like, where do we go from the ending of Winter Soldier?
And Winter Soldier is an amazing villain. It's such a great villain. It's it's not only Captain America's former sidekick Bucky, but what they do with him, the way they make him technologically almost superior to Captain America. I mean, that scene when he catches the shield, he's like, "Oh my god, that's so awesome!"
Those fight scenes were amazing.
Yeah, and even the action too. It's one of those really fine lines that they got so perfect. Where you're watching CG, you're watching big giant explosions, those aren't all real cars or airplanes, but it's so seamless and it's so fantastic because it doesn't look like someone's running behind a green screen. Right. It's integrated so well.
And after Avengers, where there's not real aliens and there's not spaceships and there's not a Hulk,
right?
I mean that looks. So you're saying
it's
that
grounded.
looks more. Yeah, this is real. This is the real deal.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Pat, let me ask you this, since we're talking about the ending. Go into detail about what you really liked in the ending
of Captain America,
of Winter Soldier. Yeah.
I would have been happy if it would have ended with Winter Soldier just leaving Cap on the beach there. I would have been happy. Even my daughter, who's 13, said it should have ended right there, Dad. And I go, I'm not against that. That's but. I just loved. I don't know. And I love how I don't even remember how it ends now. And I've seen it twice. I just saw it a couple weeks ago.
In the cemetery.
Oh yeah, it's great. And them just like going rogue after every. Yeah, I love.
You know what I think?
And I love how they're integrating it with this Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. show. When have we ever had a movie and a TV show that's on right now that is integrating everything? And even that, though, that's
TV show's not good.
Yeah, it's getting better, but.
That's what I keep getting emails.
It's ballsy for them to integrate.
I get the same email over and over. Skip the first 6 episodes.
Yes, true.
And then pick it up there. It has gotten better.
Yeah. And that is the upside of TV is that
you have a chance to
course
correct.
TV shows can find their legs. They can change the writing.
You have a show like Heroes where you constantly course uncorrect, where every single episode gets worse and worse and worse.
But again, it fell into that same. Heroes fell into that same problem of these people are under contract and we got to keep them, and they just they've lost the magic.
You know what I think too with with that, you could have ended the movie with him pulling him out of the way, absolutely. But what I think Marvel's doing, I think it's very deliberate with all of their movies. Is there and I see this between DC and Marvel. DC makes cinematic or television interpretations of the characters.
Yeah.
Marvel makes comic books come to life.
Yeah.
So when you make comic books come to life, how does every comic book end, even if the story wraps up?
Right.
It sets up the next story,
Right.
or it's a teaser or something to keep you reading the next issue. So I really think that's a deliberate thing on their part.
Yeah, at the end of Cap, I was wondering, though, I'm like, now how, when Avengers comes out now, it has to pick up, because there's not going to be another Cap movie before Avengers. So how are they going to work this storyline into Avengers? They can't ignore it.
Does the Winter Soldier, because the button at the end of the credits with Winter Soldier going into the Captain America
Museum.
and getting his memory jogged, and they did a very skilled job. Just that little scene they shot, they do those so well.
Yeah.
Of like, does this mean he's going to start remembering and become a good guy?
Right. Is he going to go back?
Join them?
Yeah. Which would be great.
Which would be awesome.
Yeah.
Or is he going to get even more evil? Like,
Yeah, they set it up, and it may not necessarily follow the comic book continuity, so we'll see.
what is the comic book continuity?
I think he does actually go back to being good, if I
Makes sense.
remember
Well,
correctly.
I wouldn't be against that, because
We'll get an email or a tweet confirming, and with an issue number.
because that's what's great about Steve Rogers. He doesn't give up on his friends. He knows this
Right.
guy's done bad things, but so
Right.
is Black Widow.
Right.
And
I think, and then, so I want to talk about too about Samuel Jackson and how he,
about fucking goddamn time.
yeah, meaning,
Talk about Samuel L. Jackson.
yeah, no, but he, I think he's been, when they first introduced him as Nick Fury, I thought, this is great. But then the whole storyline within Winter Soldier of, and how he handled that, like, because he's kind of being secret and overt.
yeah.
Is he? And I think, to me, it was sort of like they introduced this, the question of, do we need S.H.I.E.L.D.? Are they doing the right thing?
Right.
Well,
Are
Nick-
they misusing power?
Nick Fury in the comic books is an asshole.
Right.
I mean, who constantly is manipulating heroes and getting his own way. He's like borderline, villain. He's like, he's literally this shadowy government agency. The end always justifies the means,
Yeah.
and I'm going to do some pretty shitty things to get what I think I need.
Sort of League of Shadows in their philosophy.
Right.
Not
Yeah.
as extremist and crazy. But
And there's always like Wolverine, of course, tries to, kill Nick Fury in a couple of different comic books, and it's always the robot, because Nick Fury knows how much the heroes hate him because they always manipulate him. So at the end of a mission, it's always like a robot in case somebody tries to kill him.
Right.
But Samuel L. Jackson finally gets a scene in this movie, man. Some action to do
What scene?
when they're trying to kill Nick Fury
Yeah, in the car.
in the car. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's really the first time he's really
Seen him in action.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean and then
And all the stuff happens with this car he's in, like it's like a tank, and they're trying to break through the window, and the
Right.
computer's saying, window at 50% capacity, window at 30%. And his arm's broken, and he has to give himself a shot. I mean, it is, and the Winter Soldier's coming for him.
Yeah.
That was so exciting.
it's so cool. Again, Chris, you made an excellent point.
Thank you, Graham.
Thank you.
And Pat, you make a great point too. But no, what Pat is saying is the point you made, Chris, which is Marvel brings the comic book to life.
Yeah.
I felt like I was watching a comic
Right.
book where they're trying, one of the issues where they're trying to kill Nick Fury,
Right.
and you're seeing it come to the big screen,
Yep.
and you're like, holy shit. And like DC, when it's done correctly, Christopher Nolan, then it's
2 of 3.
Let's not do that here, Pat. Okay. Let's
I made a whole other can of worms.
have a whole nother spoiler up. No, as I've said, when people
Oh, trust me, that third Batman movie trounces at least 12 of these Marvel movies.
Oh yeah,
I mean, so
it's amazing. And when people have criticisms of it, here's how I listen to them. When people they bring up legit,
and they're valid.
they're valid. They're valid.
But
Just
didn't
like,
ruin the movie for me.
It's just like when someone says, "Graham, surfing is dangerous. There's sharks. you
you-
can hit your head."
Have you seen the trailer for Gotham yet?
No.
Oh, you have it.
it's pretty
It's
great.
amazing.
Yeah,
Gotham is the
TV
TV
series.
series.
Oh.
All right, we'll watch that right after we record.
Okay. All right. Anyway.
You'll get chills.
Okay, I'm excited for that. So, bringing the comic book character to life and going to that same point, Robert Redford was so fucking great.
He elevates the whole thing. Like, my brother's old school. Like, my brother will go, Brad Pitt, that's not a movie star. I'm like, well, he kind of is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My brother Kirk. He'll say that all the time. He'll go, I'll tell you who's a movie star, Robert Redford. So then I'll go, you should see Captain America Winter Soldier. Robert Redford's in it. And my brother will go, why would Robert Redford stoop to doing a comic book movie? Now, my brother's 56. He's not 75.
Yeah.
Right, he sounds like
yeah,
he'd
I
do
know.
that.
Yeah.
And
Sounds
Robert
older, yeah.
Redford,
We should all have horse and buggies.
the movie's already at a 10, and he elevates it past that. It's not a cameo.
No, it
It's
isn't.
not a cameo
No, it
at all.
isn't.
It's not like stunt casting. It's not like, hello, I'm Robert.
Robert Redford. Comic book characters are drawn after Robert Redford.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
comic book artists are like, I'm going to draw this guy like Robert Redford.
Right.
So Robert Redford in a suit as a big executive who's the bad guy. Robert
Yeah.
Redford always plays the hero.
Yeah.
The fact that he's some corporate, like, fuck you.
Yeah, and
I
he-
don't give a fuck. I'm a billionaire.
And he didn't walk through this. It wasn't like we have
No, he
Redford
didn't.
for a day and a half.
No,
Let's
he
get
didn't
his
walk through it.
thing.
He was part of the movie.
Unbelievable.
You got the feeling that Redford went, yeah.
Yeah.
I know. I want to do this.
I want to do this, and people went. Who knows if they said this, but like let's say just for argument's sake, that
Right.
someone in his camp, some manager
Right.
agent went, I don't know, it's comic book, and he went, no. I'm a movie star who's
Yeah.
also an amazing actor, and I'm bringing that
Yeah.
to this comic
Yes.
book. And as you said, Pat, it brought the whole just the scene. This is I'm picturing the scene where he's in his glass, castle.
Right.
That is a frame from a comic book.
Yep.
Right. Yep.
And you're just like, it's like, holy shit. And that is a comic book villain
Yep.
this is the thing I love I love the thing about comics, and when they're done correctly as a movie is there's the pure bad guys.
Right.
There's the Banes and those people.
Yeah.
But then there's these vague, like
Ra's al Ghul.
Ra's
We're
al
like, well, we kind
Ghul.
of want to make the planet better.
Nick Fury, Robert Redford, and this is what makes good acting,
Right.
firmly believes what he's doing is right.
Yeah.
And I love that scene too with Robert Redford and Samuel Jackson when he realized he's the Hydra agent, and he's like, "Well, then why did you hire me?" He goes, "Because we're similar, because
Right.
you're Nick Fury. You brought everything that I wanted to this, and it makes you think like, oh wait, it's two sides of the same coin,
And I mean now, and when they probably reached out to Robert Redford, they probably said, well, we were able to get Ben Kingsley. Why can't we get Robert Redford? And Robert
Yeah,
Redford probably
exactly.
said, Ben Kingsley was in one of these. Why wouldn't I do it?
Sir Ben Kingsley does
Yeah.
this,
Right.
And and again, amazing at it.
And if it's written well, I mean, this is like a political thriller. I mean, like Iron Man 3 to me felt like a Lethal Weapon action movie that Iron Man was happened to be in. And this just felt like a political thriller.
This could be 3 Days of the Condor with giant set pieces.
Yeah.
It's
No,
really
you're exactly right, and I think that's what makes why these Marvel movies are so good is they don't come at it like the G.I. Joes of the world come at it with we're going to do a dumb bubblegum movie,
Right.
And Marvel comes at it with no, this is like you say, this is a political thriller.
Yeah.
right. That we're putting superheroes in.
Yeah. Superheroes are going to battle out
Right.
this thing, which just is like exactly. It's 3 Days of the Condor with superheroes.
Right.
And if you can see these archetypes in every single one of their franchises, what they're trying to do. This is like the political thriller, whereas Thor, that's like the Lord of the Rings with superheroes.
Right.
And you have an Iron Man is more like you're saying. It's like kind of more of an action-y.
But again, a good like Iron Man 3 felt like
like a Lethal Weapon, like that kind
well,
of
even more, yeah, like a crime. Like
Right.
it was more of a whodunit or a heist movie almost, or something
Right.
like that, and figuring out who was doing what, but with these
Yeah.
giant characters.
What's cool about Iron Man and with Captain America is everyone in the world knows that Tony Stark is Iron Man. He doesn't wear that costume to hide his identity. Same with Steve Rogers.
Right.
So when I watch Iron Man 3 and Iron Man's not in it that much, but he is in it because Tony Stark is Iron Man. So you always feel like you're seeing the hero, even if they're out of costume, which is pretty fun.
And I want to touch on this with Winter Soldier too. I loved how they handled he's whatever 50 years and figuring that out. I thought it was funny when they pull out that list and he's like
Rocky 1 and 2 and
Nirvana,
Yeah.
like this thing to catch
it's on the list. Got a lot of catching up to do.
I thought that was so cool, and how he is a superhero. You know, he's not a moron. He's in this new crazy world. But still is a gentleman from the 40s.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
And also the thing that they left intact, and you have to with Captain America, or it's not Captain America, is as he's accepting these new times and all the new culture and stuff, he realized that some of the stuff that comes with all these new things, the government corruption and all that stuff, is not good.
Right.
You know, just because we're in the future doesn't mean we need all of these things.
Right.
And it's the throwback to, you know, the quote gentler times, or the you know, the morality of the 50s and 40s.
Yep.
He's got great perspective.
Yeah.
He's and what it does for us as the audience, it gives us the perspective on the world we live in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's where Superman went wrong. That's the whole point of Superman, is like more human than human.
Yeah.
And this is like, he represents the best of us, not, you know, not a brooding asshole.
It's so sad that the Nolan movies are the only time where DC's gets it right.
And because he tried to make those in the real world also.
Right.
Like those scenes when it is in Japan in the second one. When he goes, I mean, that just looks, that's like a James Bond movie.
Yeah, exactly.
He's so good.
It's so good. And
Look, Batman's up there.
Yeah.
You know, just like,
again, to the second one, Dark Knight Returns,
Yeah.
where Batman is interrogating the Joker. The Joker doesn't seem like some fantastical. It seems like this is a real wingnut who is fucked up. But yet they have that conversation, and it's similar to the Robert Redford, Samuel Jackson conversation in Winter Soldier, where, you know, Batman talks to the Joker, and Heath Ledger, which was so great, goes, "Don't talk like them."
Right. Yeah.
You and I are the same guy.
Right.
Don't fucking
not
talk.
like them.
Don't talk like them. And it's that scene is so like, wow, like it really ripped. It tore down the Batman, and you went, he's not that far from he is kind of nuts. And it's the same thing what Robert Redford did with Samuel Jackson. Of we're kind of the same, man. Like, don't get all high and mighty with me.
The funny dialogue in Captain America is great too. Just like little things like when what's his name, Anthony Mackie says, "I do what he does, only slower."
Yeah.
I mean, I mean, there's just so much fun little banter between Black Widow and Steve Rogers, but not over the top crazy. It's just nice.
It's so hard to do that correctly.
Yeah, and it just felt real.
If you do that too much, it's like, shut up. How many of those like action movies that are done poorly, where they're making those witty banters, and you're like,
Expendables?
oh god, yeah. But
I'll be back. You've been back enough. Go there. What are you talking about? You idiots.
Yeah, you got to give that a pass.
I know. It's a different. I know. But still.
pleasure. Chris loves these. It's like me with the Step Up movies.
Scarlett Johansson is amazing in Black Widow.
Yeah,
I mean, in Black Widow and Captain America too.
Again, and this I'm sure is credit to the director and casting, but again, these actors are not coming at it like phone it in for the big summer dumb movie.
No, not at all.
They're coming at it like, I'm going to act seriously, even though majority of my roles are on green screens and in wires and in prosthetics and all this crazy shit. They still come at it like, how would I emotionally play this person? And that's why you're engaged, because so often when these movies where they don't have that, I get bored with the big action scenes.
Yeah. Because you can get bored with the big action scenes. It's so easy to,
because you're desensitized to them, and that was one of the
I
things
feel like
I
I'm
loved
just walking through an arcade.
Right, it's exactly right.
Which is like, beep, beep.
And that was so amazing about the Captain America movie, where all the action scenes, I was like on the edge of my seat. I'm like, oh my god, these are all really compelling. They're shot well, and they're really. But they're fun. They're fun to watch.
And even stuff I had seen before, like there's the elevator scene in this. I mean, that scene is also in Die Hard 3.
Sure.
But in this, there's so many more guys.
Yeah.
The elevator's gigantic. And when he says,
and they have magnetic
before we do this, does anyone want to get out? I mean, that's great.
Yeah.
Because as the audience, you go, oh yeah, here it comes.
Yeah. And he knows, and he's like, okay.
Yep.
Here comes a big elevator for us.
Yeah, I know.
And it's a glass elevator. Someone's going through one of these.
Yeah.
Captain America single-handedly takes down a plane in this. It is so, and it doesn't look fake. It looks real.
It looks like, wow, that's what Captain America would do.
Yeah.
And Chris Evans,
he's perfect.
He's so perfect for this.
And I'm so glad he was the best thing about those Fantastic Four movies.
I would disagree with that, but
You don't think he was good as Johnny Storm?
I don't.
See, he wasn't the best thing in those movies. What was the best thing?
Well, that's my. I guess we're just coming at it differently. Like, I just think those movies were all bags of shit. So
They are. They're 100% a zero. But if there was one shining light, it was him. And I'm glad that they were like. I'm glad that when they cast, they didn't discount him because he was in those. That's
you're
what I
right,
mean.
Because I did. Because I didn't even think. I just thought like, oh, here's this dumb pretty boy.
Right.
They've totally missed the Fantastic Four, and I wrote off everything about it. So I had written off Chris Evans entirely.
And he's great.
He is great.
I can't see anyone else playing the part right now.
Ever. And like they gotta make him bionic or something so he can play these movies or whatever. Because he's
In real life.
He's so good at again, it does that thing. This is how Steve Rogers like in the first one, he played the skinny kid, even though that was all CG. He was walking around in a green suit.
And it looks amazing. We get a flashback scene in this movie too, which is
because and
it's
he's
like we already have this rendered in the computer. We're not wasting this.
Right.
We're using it again.
right.
But again, that's all. This is good movie acting because movie acting is basically from the neck up.
Yeah.
And in all the close-ups in the first Captain America, where he's the little scrawny kid, you felt his pain, even though we all know, like I said, he's a big dude who's wearing a green outfit. So then he still always has that.
Yeah.
In every scene, it's where he has his compassion. It's where he doesn't bail on any of his friends because so many people bailed on him and told him you're skinny or weak. So the people that believed in him, he's like, and he's never giving that up. He always knows he handles everything. He's not a bully like some superheroes can be.
Yeah.
He doesn't say, I'm big and bad, bring it. He's like, no, you're not pushing me around anymore.
No. Even in the fights, he doesn't overdo it. He does just what he needs to do to get the villain out of the way. He doesn't like just wail on him and, I love the new costume that he has, but yet I love how we get a taste of the old costume. And this is a spoiler episode when he goes to the Smithsonian and takes his old costume.
Right.
So cool. When you see him in the red, white, and blue again, you're like, everything's awesome.
That was so great. The Smithsonian was like, again, it makes you feel like this is really happening. Because Captain America wouldn't be in the goddamn Smithsonian if he existed.
Yeah, right, exactly.
And his uniform would be there.
Yep.
All right, before we switch gears to the next one, is there any other spoiler stuff we need to discuss?
I wanted to talk briefly about the some of the Stinger stuff at the end when you saw the scene with Hydra, and also what I love too is like Shield, Hydra, two sides of the same coin that have no currency.
Yeah,
and it's setting up more that's coming up, and then you get the scene in the cells of Quicksilver and the Scarlet Witch.
Yes.
Now, that surprised me because when you have Fox owns the rights to a lot of the X-Men characters.
Right.
So I'm wondering if there was something with Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch where they're able to use. I don't know. But it was good to see them.
Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch are in the Avengers and in the X-Men movie. But two different actors are playing them in both movies.
Oh, okay. There you go.
Yeah.
That must be what's going on.
Okay. Because I think...
I wish they could get it together because I like continuity.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
You know, even though I like Don Cheadle better than... What was his name?
Terrence Howard.
Yeah, Terrence Howard seems like flouncy to me.
Flouncy.
But I do like I like continuity.
Sure.
No, I agree. I agree
I
with
just,
that.
you know.
And I think,
Speaking of continuity.
Yes.
Okay.
What's up?
We're going to do Spider-Man 2 now.
No, speaking of continuity, I was going to say, your website would have great continuity if you used Squarespace.
The continuity and the savings you would get by using coupon code CFN.
You know what's also has some continuity? CFN as a coupon code with Squarespace. We haven't had to change it. We haven't had to do anything. It's always on the money. CFN, 10% off Squarespace.com.
Create a website called #workit.com.
Yeah. And we've actually added the Earbuds website is now up. It's Earbuds Pod Doc, and that's a Squarespace site as well. And the thing about it is you're going to need a website if you have any type of business, portfolio, art, anything you want to showcase, and Squarespace just makes it really easy.
It's actually earbudspodmovie.com is the Earbuds website.
That's what I meant.
And and so that was done with Squarespace.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And it makes it really easy. It's drag and drop, and you can get 10% off using coupon code CFN. Work it.
That was amazing that we've in.
I want to talk about the Falcon real quick.
Okay.
Squarespace website with the Falcon.
Yeah, create
are you guys done?
Yeah, yeah, you can do whatever.
The Falcon in this, it wasn't the Falcon gets his name because that was the project or the the jetpack with the wings was called the Falcon. So I liked that it wasn't like Anthony Mackie just can go, I'm on your team and you can call me Falcon.
Yeah.
You know, it was something stupid like that.
They bring in all of the stuff from the
Right.
comics correctly.
Yeah.
It's the thing we always said about Christopher Nolan is he uses the source material correctly.
Yeah.
So when they put these things in there, you don't just feel like
They're shoehorned in.
they don't feel like they're shoehorned, and they feel like they're put in there by people that are fans of the comic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Because they say they give us a little taste. They say they said Doctor Strange's name in there, and they said Banner is in there, and it's just I like when they just throw it out. So you as you just get like a chill up your spine.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
like,
little Easter eggs.
And that's what the comics do.
yeah,
Yeah.
They will just say, "Oh yeah, we had a meeting with Dr. Banner," and you're like, "Oh,
whoa,
that's the Hulk."
Yeah,
yeah. I know that guy. We know who that guy is.
Fantastic Four's Tower. They're working on something with Reed
So,
Richards.
so we all agree that this is a 10 without a doubt.
Yeah.
The only, if I'm going to be nitpicky and not about this movie, but ever since the Avengers has been introduced, whenever there's a problem like in this movie, I'm like, well, wouldn't they just get on the horn and call up, Iron Man and the Hulk and have them come in and help? But it's nice that they do these standalone.
Because again, that's
Because
what
they
the
can, yeah.
comics did.
Well,
Right.
I'm gonna go off on a brief comic book tangent right now because
Okay.
it goes directly to that point. There's a new Hawkeye series out right now with Matt
Comic book.
Fraction comic book, and it's fantastic.
Did they draw him to look like what's his name, Jeremy Renner?
Not at all.
Okay.
And what it is it focuses specifically on when he's not at the Avengers. It's all him in his apartment, dealing with street level thugs, and it every once in a while they'll show him fighting with the other heroes. Then they're talking about like recording something on the DVR. He has to have Tony Stark come in to set up his AV equipment because it's like that, and it's fantastic.
Oh, that's cool.
It's really really cool, and it opens. The entire series opens with him. He's falling out of a window and going, "Trust me, this hurts even more than it looks." Working with heroes, gods, the guys that have invulnerability. I'm a carny with a bow and arrow.
It's true.
That's a great one.
And it goes from there and just kind of shows his life when he's not in S.H.I.E.L.D., but all the other characters
Yeah.
and stuff come in. It's a great series. I really recommend it.
And again,
When-
you read that now,
Yeah.
and you have complete faith that Marvel is going to the Hawkeye movie is going to be great. Or whatever storylines they do with Hawkeye and the Avenger, it's going to be awesome.
Well, I love when they teased him in the first Thor movie.
Yeah.
Back to Cap 2 1 second. Did you think, because I thought this the whole way through Cap 2, I kept thinking that Robert Redford was going to be Red Skull. Did you think that at all?
Oh, I didn't think that.
I thought he's going to get punched and the eye's going to droop and you're going to see red and it's going to be, he's Red Skull.
I was sure he was going to be a villain.
Yes,
you
yes.
really,
I knew he was
that
going to be
the
a
setup,
villain, but I kept
didn't
thinking,
think Red Skull.
I did,
no.
yeah. I didn't. I was not thinking Red Skull. I was like, I think there's some Hydra shit going down.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
knew there was gonna. I figured there was a Hydra thing, but I wasn't thinking he was gonna be Red Skull.
And I guess the actor Frank Grillo is going to be Crossbones in the next Cap movie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
so great,
Yeah.
man. The Hail Hydra shit.
Yeah, that was great.
And they just leave it empty, like Hydras might be coming back. and You're never gonna get.
Oh, I do have one problem with Cap.
Okay.
I could have done without Gary Shandling. Because he reminds me of one of my least favorite Marvel movies, Iron Man 2.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I don't
Yeah, but the fact that he said Hail Hydra was fantastic.
Yeah, that was. I get it, but I was just like, oh, Shandling. Hell Hydra.
Okay.
All right.
Let's move now.
Now, let's go to Spider-Man 2.
Okay.
Now, I want to start off by trying to find something nice to say about this movie.
Okay.
And I will
want to.
too.
I think we should
Why don't we
start
all
positive.
do it?
Yeah, we'll try. And the best thing I could say is, because I hated the first one so much.
And I didn't hate the first one.
I did hate the first one. I actually thought this one was a little better than the first one. And because I was so against the first one, I'm going to say why. I thought they got the character of Peter Parker so ungodly wrong in the first one, and they made him a self-centered asshole. Whereas this time, they actually showed, they didn't get the character right, but they got in the same ballpark.
Okay.
Where you actually see the character conflicted. He's trying to be a normal teenager, but he's got all this responsibility. People are dying all around him. His actions are causing consequences. And you see that conflict in him for the first time. He was more concerned with, Gwen Stacy's dad being dead rather than him being responsible for his own uncle's death. Other than that,
Right.
but I really thought that there they kind of got in the right ballpark. They just got nowhere near the actual character. The last thing I thought they did right was I enjoyed some of the relationship scenes because I think Mark Webb is good at doing things like 500 Days of Summer.
Which is a great movie.
Yeah, where the relationship scenes, the scenes with Peter Parker and Aunt May, I thought
are fantastic. I thought they were
really
great.
Good.
Yeah,
and
when she's crying and she's saying,
Yeah.
you're my boy."
Yeah.
And Sally Field is...
I thought she did great too. Now,
Right.
where the
Again,
movie
like a
falls-
Robert Redford, they get a good actress
Yes.
in the part.
And that's when you felt like I'm watching 3 or 4 different movies. And when the movie falls apart, and this is going to sound sarcastic, but it's true, is when it has anything to do with superheroes, supervillains, or comic books. It's really, it's
God.
where it literally falls apart. But,
Yeah.
you get Mark Webb, who is good at these relationship scenes. He's the wrong person to take on this franchise, obviously. The movie has
But
these
he's
moments.
not even handed... It's not even like he's given I mean, not to defend the dumb choices that he made, but I think he's a very good director. But he's given this, like we've talked about. Okay, they've got to rush these out because if I was Sony, I would do the same thing. We got to get a movie out.
Yeah,
But
they want to do
there's
these
1,000 other better stories
right.
to do.
They want to do these every 2 years too.
Yeah, there's 1,000 other better writers. There's 1,000 other better, more appropriate directors.
Yeah.
There's easily more appropriate directors than Mark Webb.
There's
And
better
it doesn't-
villains than Electro.
Oh my God!
God,
Oh,
terrible.
You mean the Blue Meanie?
Oh, it's so terrible.
It's so anyway. That was the one good thing I wanted to say is that I thought that it did a couple things right in moments, but they're few and far between.
I like the opening scene where he's what were those little plutonium bombs and he's trying to get them all. That felt very comic booky to me. I like that.
Right.
I like that he was. I liked his
and very
quip.
true to Spider-Man.
Yes,
that's
yes.
so
Yeah,
like
yeah.
wisecracking. While all this-
And the quips that he did to Giamatti when Giamatti was driving.
Could you understand a word Giamatti was saying?
I don't understand. Say, Spider-Man!
Yeah, that's literally what it sounded.
Spider-Man!
So yes, you understood everything.
Right, I did. And I like Emma Stone as Gwen Stacy.
Yeah, I thought she was a good.
I
Gwen
do
Stacy.
like this kid. He looks like Peter Parker to me, and I love the Aunt May stuff, but that's about it.
You know, I agree with you guys. I like all those Aunt May scenes. I like Emma Stone. I don't like this guy. I think he's a good actor.
don't like Andrew Garfield?
I don't
You
don't
like
like him?
Andrew. I think he does.
Well, he's British. That's probably why.
Right. Hello. Spider-Man.
Born in LA.
Zip, zip, swing.
Time for tea.
Mind the gap on the web.
My ringtone is a television series about me. What? Fucking stupid.
Yeah, he just. There was two. Okay. I just don't like it. I think he's a good actor. I just think he's miscast. I think he's trying to do the best he can with horrible scripts with regard to this thing. But I think he's
Now-
miscast. And it's not a criticism of him.
Right.
I think. And again, if he had the right script and the right director, I think maybe
might be amazing,
He might
yeah.
be great. He might
Yeah,
be
might
great.
be a great Spider-Man.
But
No pun intended. He might be amazing.
Might be amazing. He might be an amazing Spider-Man. So the one thing, I wasn't as harsh on Electro as you guys were. I thought visually and graphic wise, I was like, wow, that was a cool.
How about when they were fighting inside the Matrix at the end?
Yeah, that was just like, I was like, it's like that new stupid
was-
Johnny Depp Transcendence movie. Like it was.
He was handled like a villain in one of those Joel Schumacher Batman movies, though.
That's
When he fell
exact-
into a vat of electric eel. I mean, there was just.
I know.
And everything was so over the top. Like you
Yeah.
could tell that anything that had to do with comic books or comic book villains or the directing of them, of the actors doing that, was so ridiculous and over the top. Even like the German scientist that's like experimenting on them. So we will see what makes you tick. You know, I'm like,
It's so
what's going on?
And I could almost guarantee you, the people that made this movie would argue with us. Like, no, it's just like they do that in Captain America.
But they did it right.
They did it right in Captain America. And it shows you this. It shows you how subtle it is. It's like
you actually have to write an actual movie.
Yeah.
You're not writing a comic book
no,
movie.
it's
No.
and the way they're doing. Anyone who supports these Spider-Man movies would argue, well, it's all the same. It's the same, and Captain America's just as dumb. And so, no,
No.
Wrong.
It's such a
They're wrong.
minor adjustment, that they don't have the fucking skill to make.
Right.
You know what I mean?
It's too cartoony.
I know. It's too cartoony.
And it doesn't even go together. Like, from scene to scene, it jumps around.
Yeah.
There's no progression. There's no character.
Nope.
There's literally nothing to these movies except watching a computer throw up onto a comic book.
And it's 20 minutes longer than Captain America Teal, too, for no reason. What is the...
I'm glad the trailer shows a bunch of stuff that either isn't in the movie, isn't important, or has voiceover that doesn't exist in the movie.
The character Electro, his alter ego is Max, who's he's like a slow, dim-witted.
Right.
No, except he's a genius.
Except he's a genius. Yeah, they send him down to fix the power core.
And he
or whatever.
designed the power grid. But what I find amazing,
they didn't even depict him correctly as a genius.
No.
He depicted him as an idiot.
An idiot.
Moron.
Is a comb over.
Yeah, not even possibly high functioning
Asperger's guy. There was nothing in any of those scenes.
No, and everyone that he came in contact with treated him like
they got it so
poor
wrong.
Max.
Like they got it so wrong. Like, all we have to do is put a good actor in these roles, and then it'll be like these other movies. No, you have to write it.
You have to write it
correctly to where he. Everyone around him who knew he was should be treating him like this guy's a genius. He doesn't know how to tie his own shoes,
Yeah.
but he's a genius.
He's the man.
And of course, you got those two idiot writers from Transformers were on this. And
Fuck you.
Those pull up their names real quick.
Shitbag and Buttercup.
Also,
Alex Kurtzman and Roberto Orsi.
Yeah, these guys are the worst.
I'm tired of seeing their names on set.
Easily the worst writers in Hollywood by far. And they've broken up now. This was the last movie that they're doing together. But what I find fascinating is that
more
exactly. They can cover more ground to ruin more things at once. But what I find fascinating is that when you've got guys like that with zero talent, they have the biggest illusions of all. They actually said, the reason we're so successful is we treat all these big blockbuster movies, we write them like indie movies.
No, you didn't.
And
what? Have you ever seen an indie movie?
Yeah.
And you know what? I think if you're going to go delusional, you got to go way delusional because that is the opposite of everything that they do. They make vapid, explosion-filled bullshit. Yeah. That's
it. And the fact that they think they're making art. They're everything that's wrong with Hollywood. Yeah. I swear to God.
It's in that movie. It's in Spider-Man 2.
Movie. Yeah. I know. It's unbelievable.
Shitty writers, bad casting, horrible directing, and a missing of the point completely of the source material.
The ego to think that they're geniuses. No, you've made money. Yeah. You've made a lot of money. Doesn't mean you're a genius or a good drug dealer. There's a lot of drug dealers that make a lot of money. Yeah. The BP oil company that ruined the Gulf of Mexico, they make a lot of money and they're fucking horrible cocksuckers. So get the fuck out of show business. Like, get out of the way. Like, your people are the fucking worst.
Have you seen their names on any of the Marvel movies?
No way.
And like, you never will.
Nope. You know there's a wall.
I've seen Shane Black's name on a Marvel movie.
Yeah. Yep.
And Joss Whedon.
Weird.
Yeah.
Those movies are good.
I've seen a Marvel movie directed by Kenneth Branagh.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know?
Yeah.
In the movie, this Max guy, he worships Spider-Man.
Right.
So why does he become a villain? And someone on Facebook who I was arguing with said, because Spider-Man didn't recognize him. I go, no.
That's the reason?
No, Spider-Man did recognize him. He says, he goes, the guy with the blueprints.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Where he shouldn't have recognized him at all because he's blue and has electricity on his face now. He doesn't look anything like me. So even if he didn't recognize him, tough titties.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I said it. But that's so he becomes Spider-Man. It took Spider-Man 3 seconds to recognize me. I will destroy the world. I mean, it doesn't. There's like the motivation sucks.
It's so bad.
And then everything is so over the top and telegraphed. Like, boy, could they find a creepier performance by Harry Osborn? Really? Is that? Or could you foreshadow maybe a little more?
This kid Dane DeHaan, I like him. He's in the movie Chronicle. He's also in the movie Kill Your Darlings.
Play it more creepy because no one knows you turn into the Green Goblin.
Yeah, I actually liked the Tobey Maguire James Franco relationship because they were friends.
They were friends,
you know?
exactly.
They had a legitimate falling out.
Yes.
Like James Franco's motivation for feeling betrayed by Spider-Man, I get it.
Yeah, that's true.
I get where you're coming from. Like, maybe you're a little misguided, but again, that's why you become a supervillain.
And they tried to show that like, they had a relationship, but it
didn't work because they skipped some stones for 2 seconds.
It's totally
they introduce it as we barely knew each other in school.
Barely knew each other in school. Give me a hug. I'm sorry about your dad.
Okay.
How about also Norman Osborn's son comes to visit him, And he goes, I'm dying from this disease, and it's hereditary, and you have it too. And all of a sudden...
Oh, then he has it.
The kid has it immediately?
Yeah.
Oh, what's this big thing on my neck?
Yeah.
That I didn't have
immediately
when I was flying here to see you.
I didn't know my hands were.
I know,
I didn't know my hands were shaking. That's until now. Until you mentioned
Oh, Daddy! He's doing jazz hands at his deathbed. It was so bad.
And that ending where he gets in the dumb goblin suit, I'm like, even your goblin suit sucks.
Yeah.
You remember when the Green Goblin was introduced in the original?
Yeah.
Spider-
Somebody on that set went me. They actually must have said, "Get me Heat Miser hair."
Yeah. It was... And this is nothing against these actors. They're doing the best they can do.
I mean, I love the idea of like, let's make Jamie Foxx a villain.
Would have been great.
Yeah.
Would have been great because I like Jamie Foxx.
I do
a lot.
too.
He wants.
I like Paul Giamatti.
Yes,
I like Paul Giamatti too. But don't make that rhino suit like a tank. Make it like the real rhino suit, like a guy in this rhino suit with a.
It was a Transformers.
Yeah,
it looks
it was
like the
terrible.
Transformers movies that has that dumb dragon dog that runs around that Mark Wahlberg fights or whatever.
Supposed to be Grimlock.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
How did he get in that suit at the end? Did someone say send him this suit? Because it was at the Osborne Corp.
And then he kept. What I found fascinating too is like, he had to keep taking it off to talk. Like every time he would talk, then it would like peel back. I'm like, well, then couldn't a sniper kind of get him right there when he's talking?
He couldn't have put speakers
Yeah.
on this
Yeah,
guy.
yeah.
Couldn't have put a microphone.
Yeah, microphone from inside.
If someone's in a tank, if someone's in a tank and they want to talk, do they come out the top?
I know, right?
Is that what they do?
It's terrible.
Put a bullseye on their fucking forehead.
I don't like the whole world that they've set up, that Oscorp, because they walk by and you can see Doc Octopus's tentacles and you can see the vultures'
wings. Mm-hmm.
I mean, how simple is it to just have who's the guy? Who's the actor that Malkovich be the vulture, and then have Kraven the Hunter come and he wants to take down Spider-Man and the Vulture. I mean, that's a simple story.
They're so stupid. They're dumb writers. They're dumb people,
and they've set up a really bad universe for Spider-Man.
Oh, and they're expanding it. That's what there's going to be a Venom movie and all these.
Yeah, you know what? Good luck
offshoots
making.
Nobody
How are you
cares
going to
about.
make a Sinister Six movie with just all villains? How is that going to play out?
Well, the thing they're so dumb. This is why they're dumb.
Yeah,
they're dumb,
so stupid.
Dumb writers and dumb people who then write dumb things. So they scan past Oscorp and you're just like, oh, this is where all the villain outfits are. Mm-hmm. How did Winter Soldier do it? Teaser at the end. They mention it.
Yeah.
It's so like smart how they tip it in there to get us as fans to get excited.
How much do people at Marvel and Disney, they just watch these movies and laugh and like, all right, well, I don't think we have to worry about any competition here.
Another thing I just remembered about,
and then they smack the lawyers in the face and say, "Get us these characters back."
Right.
In Cap, they have this big war machine that's going to target people who could be a threat.
Right.
And as they scan like the whole world, they show the Stark building. Did you guys remember that?
Yeah.
That's like the little stuff they give you, the fans. They're like, oh my God, there's this. And it still just has the A because of the battle in New York.
Mm-hmm.
So awesome. But this.
Exactly. And they've woven this whole awesome universe that you're just like, oh shit.
Like the comic book world.
Right. And now Marvel, their number one hero is Spider-Man, right? In the comics.
Yes.
That's like that's like their number one.
Flagship.
That's like
Superman.
That's like Superman, Batman, right at the top.
Right.
It's not. It wasn't Iron Man years ago. It wasn't any. It was always.
No, it's very true.
And they fucked it so hard.
Yes.
Well, I mean, believe me, they're kicking themselves every day that they can't get the rights back. And I will say,
stop hiring assholes.
They should have just given. I mean, Spider-Man 3 is a mess.
I agree.
But they should have given Sam Raimi a to rectify.
I don't think he wanted another one. I think
you don't think, because I thought I had read that they were going to do 4 and 5 back to back.
The thing about Spider-Man 3, and after I was reading about this too, is Sam Raimi wanted to do a much smaller movie with I think it was the Vulture and what you're talking about.
Yeah.
But then the studios kept adding villains and making it bigger and bigger. But when you're watching that movie, Spider-Man 3, you not only see all the meddling, but you also see everyone has franchise fatigue.
Yeah.
You could see Tobey Maguire didn't want to do it anymore. Even Sam Raimi from the directing, you could see, I think he's done.
Yeah.
So I think there was a lot of things that made that one not as good. But Spider-Man has always been my favorite superhero ever. That's my favorite.
Really disappointed.
And after like the first two, and then I got
the first two were so.
The first two were great, and then after the
first
third one, I'm like, oh, and then
because it had been so long since we had seen. I mean, the X-Men had come out
Right.
a couple years. But since we had seen something like that, and that's why it was like, this is amazing.
Well, we had
Yeah.
never seen a Spider-Man movie.
No.
No,
We had only seen him as a cartoon in the 60s.
And Nicholas Hammond in the 70s.
Right. That's all we had ever had.
Yep.
And then
And they're doing great things with the Spider-Man comic. I mean, not just the comic book, but the TV shows now too.
Yeah.
Because the Disney Channel, because if you have kids, you'll be watching a lot of
Right.
these shows. And what I love too is since they have the animated rights,
Yeah.
the Spider-Man shows, you get to see them with Captain America and the
Yeah.
Avengers and all these
Yep.
other characters, and you're like, oh, that's what the movies could be.
Right.
the fucking ending. I mean, I was the ending.
Oh,
Go ahead.
No, I want to ask you guys this because I was so fed up. I didn't stay for any of the stingers, so I want to know what they were.
I only saw one stinger. I didn't stay for the second. The first
I couldn't.
Stinger,
I was done.
The first stinger was just a goddamn X-Men commercial.
That's all I stayed for. I don't think there was another one.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's like
It was the
it's
dumbest
like,
stinger.
What
Hey,
was
it was almost like
They
a.
just showed an X-Men commercial.
It was
X-Men trailer.
it was like a clip from the X-Men. It was
Yes.
like a little scene with Mystique.
Oh my
But
god!
it's almost like saying
Something inventive,
we're
original.
sorry about this, but this will be coming out in 3 weeks. So
Right.
enjoy this.
It was so dumb. It was.
So it was an apology clip.
Do you remember,
That's what it felt like. Yes.
like the Avengers movie, where they always do two really good. They tease,
Yeah.
and then show them off. Remember when they're all eating food,
shawarma.
laughing,
Yeah,
or whatever?
yeah.
Like that was just this human hilarious
Yeah.
moment, and they just literally cut and dragged and dropped a goddamn X-Men commercial,
And they're not even-
It's like a fuck you. It's like, why don't you?
And they're
just
not
like
even done by
buy
the same studio. It's
know.
Sony
I
and
know.
Fox.
It's not even your thing. It's literally like, why didn't I'm surprised it just didn't go get a Spider-Man T-shirt at this website. Like it was fuck off.
It's just fucking, the whole thing's it's a mess. The whole thing's a mess.
Don't
go see it.
Don't see it.
Don't give them money.
Don't support these assholes at all.
No.
You know, it had a $200 million budget. As of May 6th, according to IMDb, it did $100 million. So don't see it. Let it fucking eat it.
Yeah.
Let it not make money, and maybe this thing will
Maybe
die.
Sony will be dumb enough to let the rights lag instead of, if they were smart, they'd like, you know what? Let's start over. Let's get actually talented people to put
Yeah.
these together. But let's hope the dumbness of the executives lasts a little longer. We're like, fuck it. We can't make money off Spider-Man. Give it back to Disney and
Yeah,
Marvel.
because Sony executives are fucking morons.
They've got to be regrouping though. They've got to know it's a turd, right? They have to.
I hope. Because what my hope is somebody, they either do what Chris says, get somebody on the third one, and we'll all go, okay.
Yeah, they course corrected.
Because we want
Yeah.
it to be good.
Of course, we want these
We
movies
wanted
to be good.
Oh, and they also shot with someone playing Mary Jane, and then they scratch. I don't even know where you would have wedged Mary Jane in anywhere.
Yeah, that makes no sense to put
And
it.
the girl who they had playing Mary Jane is the girl from Fault in Our Stars and Divergent.
Shailene Woodley?
Yeah.
Woodley.
Oh, yeah.
But for me, I'm kind of glad that she's out, and I hope they recast, because for me, Mary Jane has to be
Yeah,
She has to
yeah.
be Scarlett Johansson type.
Right.
Yes.
Like in that panel that they always show, hello, hey, Tiger.
yeah.
And when you're a kid, even as a grown up, you see that panel, and you're like, oh, bing.
Yeah.
I mean, and Kirsten Dunst was not a good Mary Jane.
I thought she was decent.
I thought she was okay.
I
But
thought she
she's
was
not
good.
like, boom.
Well, there's that scene where,
They kiss upside down.
well, it's raining and
It's
she's in a
raining.
white shirt.
I know.
That wasn't a bad scene.
Right. But yeah, you can't even. I don't even know how you edit this. It's too long. I don't even know how you edit it. There's too many scenes
can't fix
between him and Gwen where they say the exact same thing every fucking scene.
They got to start from scratch. If they're going to read, here's what happens. They either need to just get a director in there and a writer that goes,
We don't need an origin story again. Everyone knows
No,
about Spider-Man.
we're done.
We all know it.
go, get it together.
Yeah.
Or, and this is my actual hope, is that Sony just goes over to Marvel and says, hey, you guys got it. Just give us a taste of every ticket.
Yeah, we're gonna
Just-
we're not gonna let it lapse. But why don't you guys take it?
You guys
over?
get it.
You guys
do
seem
it,
to know what you're doing.
and we get a taste.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you know Marvel would go, oh yeah.
Yeah, we'll
Yeah.
do it.
Well,
Yeah.
all of our movies make $1 billion, so here, thanks.
And the way they did it from Pierce Brosnan to Daniel Craig, where they kept Judi Dench as M,
Yes.
please call J.K. Simmons and get him to be J. Jonah Jameson
Yeah,
again.
he's
There was
great.
no J. Jonah
No,
Jameson.
there was an email.
Full Spider-Man movie without.
Yeah, Parker. In an email, you just see it. Oh, and it wasn't like when they say Banner and Strange and you get a chill. You read, that's from J. Jonah Jameson. Big deal.
And
we want to see him.
And my first thought was, I guess we don't get to see him.
And this is the other point about Mark Webb being the worst director for this, is because he doesn't understand what's important when making a comic book movie, what to show and what not to show. And you can see that in the
now
first
Parker's already working for the Bugle. We've never seen him interview. We don't know how he got that job. He's just working for it. And another thing, I just talked to someone today, a guy I was playing tennis with, and he said, the thing about the Spider-Man comics is, every kid wants to have superpowers, but when Peter Parker gets them, it doesn't solve all of his other problems of dealing with school and college and all. And we we're seeing him see a flashback of thinking he sees Dennis Leary, but we're not seeing him really physically deal with.
Don't we all
So
have that?
dumb. And
Like, why isn't he dealing with, I got a term paper, but I got to go out and catch this guy?
I can't pay.
Spider-Man.
Yeah.
That's Spider-Man. Yes.
I can't pay the bill or whatever. And
Right.
that was when
Aunt May's working too hard, and I feel guilty about that, but I can't help.
when Stan Lee created Spider-Man, it was the first superhero with real world problems, and that's what made it resonate so much with audiences back in, I think it was 60s when it first came out.
Right.
So
even the cameo of Stan Lee in Captain America, he plays a security guard at the Smithsonian, and he comes in and Captain America's suit's gone, and he says, "Oh, I am so fired." That's a funny cameo.
I know.
Even though I'm tired of these Stan Lee things, they take me out of the movie for that second. In the Spider-Man one, Peter is late for graduation, and Stan Lee says, "I think I know that guy." That's dumb.
I know.
That's dumb. So wait, now you've taken it a whole crazy level with, the guy who created Spider-Man thinks he knows who Peter. It's like, that's a dumb cameo.
I know.
Dumb.
They don't know what they're doing.
No.
And these Transformer guys take your money and go to retire to an island. And just get
where they
out.
don't have computers.
Yeah, where they don't have computers or writing or any way to communicate with humans, and just get out.
The guys who directed Captain America, who are they from? Where are they from? The Russo brothers? I'm trying to think where they're from. Also, in Captain America Run, when Joe Johnston directed it, I mean, since he did The Rocketeer, he really had a feel for that
era and stuff.
Yeah, and it felt like a little bit like Raiders of the Lost Ark. It was just,
and
I was a real good tone in that movie.
If you haven't seen The Rocketeer, go back and check it out. It's it's really a fun movie.
Yeah.
Anthony and Joe Russo.
They've got a decent resume.
Yeah, they've done,
and they're on board for the next Cap. I'm pretty sure they're keeping those guys around.
Yeah, Anthony and Joe Russo, which is just like, is great. I mean, they've done stuff like You, Me, and Dupree, but you know.
But I always like you guys' resume where you see that they're getting better as they go on. Right. Unlike these two guys that we won't even name them anymore. Mm-hmm. Their resume is just full of shit.
Yeah, and they're proud of it. And that's what they're proud of, because that's what they do.
Yeah.
They think they're great. They're literally like the Ant of, Ant thinks he's an amazing comedian. He's not funny at all.
Ant.
So yeah, these guys, yeah, exactly. You look at their stuff, and they've produced they've done Community. They did the show Community. Mm-hmm. So they've done a lot of TV, which sometimes can be like, but they got this down, man. They got it down. And it's like
the Russos.
Yeah, the Russos. Yeah. They've done Arrested Development. You know what I mean? Like
they've done good stuff in other genres, and they're just
which initially I'd go, well, they've done good comedy TV. How are they going to do action? Well, they know how to. The comedy television that they've done that is good is like Community and stuff like that. It feels real. Again, It's that thing we talked about. It feels like a real, like Community feels real, and it's not too wacky, too over the top. It's not slapsticky.
Right.
It's not like a bad 3-camera sitcom that you're like, ugh. So I'm down with these guys.
But yeah, definitely go give Captain America more money.
Yeah.
Give that movie more money and don't go see Spider-Man. Wait and get it at Redbox for $1 if you have to. It's not worth it.
Watch it on a plane or something or whatever. Or
I know it's hard, because if you guys had seen it and I saw you on the street and I hadn't seen it yet, I would go see it. You know what I mean? It's hard because you're like, well, Graham and Chris didn't like it, but we're telling you, it's really not worth your time.
It's not. I know.
Or your money.
It's not. Don't do it. All right, guys, that was our
supersized spoiler.
That was supersized spoiler ep, man.
How do you think X-Men's going to do?
I think it's going to do great.
I'm excited for it.
I'm so excited for it. Even the X-Men movies that miss, I still like a lot about it.
the Wolverine movie from last summer, I absolutely loved.
It's great.
So I have more. I mean, I'd lost my faith in them a little bit with that other Wolverine origin story or whatever.
But even that first like 40 minutes when they're going through all the time periods and fighting, and there's still some good in there. And First Class, did you guys like X-Men First Class?
It's my favorite one.
It's my favorite one too. Yeah. So I hope Bryan Singer.
Because of First Class and the Wolverine movie, I'm very confident in this next X-Men movie.
Yeah, it looks great.
It looks great. I love I love all the characters, all the actors they've got. It does all the things we just talked about that Spider-Man doesn't, that Captain America has. And and again, they've done this cool thing with the X-Men movies of creating that universe correctly
with great actors,
amazing actors. Again, it's not a big crazy superhero movie.
Right.
It's a human movie that has
crazy stuff in
it. You know what I mean? And also the whole mutant thing, they've really explored that. It's that thing of we all feel like freaks to a certain degree, and using the mutants not just for big crazy fights. You know, here's Electro, but like the humanity of, would you like it if you were looked at as a mutant?
Right.
Society called you a mutant.
Yeah.
I don't care all the superpowers. You're not normal, and nobody accepts you except these other mutants.
Right.
And it's like kind of like us as comics. We've always sort of talked about that, like we don't fit in with the regular society and all this other stuff.
Well, not polite society.
Not polite society.
Right, not polite society.
And it's like, you know, we always talk about, well, this person gets it or they don't get it, and like they're taking those feelings and they're exaggerating it to make a superhero thing, but they handle it correctly. So
that's what Schmidt always says. He'll go, dude, they're not like us. Those are normal people, dude.
Yeah, those are normal. Exactly.
Dude, we're comics. We get it, dude.
I know. We get it, and we're freaks and we're weirdos, and we can't participate in regular society. We can't. We don't know how.
Yeah.
You know, I've never had a real job. I wouldn't know what the fuck to do with that thing. I'd get fired immediately. Anyway. X-Men's going to be good.
Have you ever saw printer images and toner cartridges?
Oh, God. Ladies and gentlemen, Pat Francis is referring to the job we had as telemarketers, which was awful.
Wow.
Just real quick, Graham and I, we didn't even have money to get a slice of pizza.
No. We were so broke. And this job was like $8 an hour, $9 or something.
But the check that we got was nothing. I wish I had a copy of the biggest check that I got from that telemarketing.
Oh, yeah, because it was a commission gig.
Yeah.
And we were sat in this awful room above a strip mall off of Ventura Boulevard.
I did one of those too when I first got there. Like,
whenever there was
the telemarketing.
Whenever there was a sale, the hot, big bosomy girl from the front office would come in and talk to the main guy. So like, I would fake sales to get her to come in. It was the worst. That room was full of X-Men.
Oh God, it was mutants. Remember that one guy that had this giant nose that he clearly had soaked in whiskey since the time he was.
That look is always scary to me.
And it's
like a Muppet nose.
And you had to read the script, and you were trying to sell toner.
I had
cartridges,
wireless cable, investing in wireless cable, and it was all a front for. I found out later that it was all like a scam.
Of course,
because you think you go in, all right, you know, it's a. You know, it's just a job. It's $8. I call people and you try to close a deal, and then you realize later that there's like news stories like, oh, this is all, you know.
Well, I remember some company, and the guy goes, "You calling from California?" I go, "Yeah," and he goes, "Nope." It's like they'd been scammed so many times. And I remember I wasn't
all cracked down.
I couldn't.
Now, finally,
I didn't have the heart. Like I couldn't close.
No,
I didn't believe in this at all.
No, neither did I.
You felt so awful about yourself.
And because the way I treat telemarketers when they call me at home, if they get through, I'm the worst.
I know.
Yeah, we were just the initial calls. Then, like, they had a whole team of the closers that would actually close the.
Would you like to speak with my manager?
Yeah.
I remember
This is Pete Simmons. I am the regional manager.
Filthy scams.
And we lasted for a couple weeks, and that was it.
We did it for 2 weeks, and I just left. And Pat, you were like, went back, and you told the guy, "Look, I don't like doing business. I just can't work.
I can't do it."
Mm-hmm. And then like one of those roach coaches would pull up, and there's lunch, and everyone would get excited, and be like, "Oh, no. Some horrible hard-boiled egg."
College graduates.
Yeah,
college graduates.
But I remember the one time the guy said to me, he goes, "You're not doing good sales. You need a better name." I was like, "Huh?" He goes, "Dean. That's your name." I was like, "Oh, Dean's gonna close the deal. Graham isn't." And then I finally got someone to like, oh, you want to talk to my manager? And he's like, and I go, manager. He goes, great. And he goes, and he holds the phone, and I had forgotten because I was like, I'm not saying my name's Dean.
Right.
And then he calls the phone. Are you Dean or Graham? And I was like, huh? And he goes, yeah, I just spoke to Dean and Dean Graham. And
The worst.
oh God, that was awful. All right.
Hashtag Dean Graham for this
Hashtag
episode,
Dean
ladies and gentlemen.
Dean Graham.
When's this episode drop?
It'll drop today.
Oh, can I promote stuff?
Yes.
Of course you can. Pat Francis, where can people find you? What can you? Where can they see you?
Here we go. Saturday, May 31st at the Limestone Comedy Festival in Bloomington, Indiana.
Great festival.
Be Never Not Funny live at the Buskirk Chumley Theater. Shows at 4 p.m. in the afternoon. You can get tickets at the Limestone at www.limestonefest.com. And that same night, Rock Solid live at the Comedy Attic. Show starts at 10 p.m. My guest co-hosts will be Brad Wilhelm and Matt Holt, and the topic will be the music of Bruce Springsteen. You can follow me at Pat_Francis and at Rock Solid Show.
Dude, you guys, we did Limestone last year.
It was really fun.
It was the first year of the festival. It was a blast.
Great, I can't wait.
Bloomington is an awesome.
Yes, it is.
It's so much fun. Like
Jared's great.
Jared, he's like a fan of comedy,
Right.
And that Comedy Attic is a great. We've done our podcast.
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
Yeah,
Go see
we've
Rock
done it
Solid,
there
guys.
before. Yeah, so
Go see
come
Rock
see
Solid. We had Rock Solid in the festival last year. Fun show.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's good stuff, guys. So check that out.
Much appreciated.
And did you give them all your Twitter and?
Yeah. At for Rock Solid, it's at Rock Solid Show, and for me personally, it's at Pat_Francis.
Right on.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Well, speaking of Bloomington, I will be headlining there at the Comedy Attic, June 12th through the 14th. And also we are going to have the Earbuds crew with us because we're going to do some interviews. We're going to interview Aaron. And so that Saturday, the 14th, from noon to about 4 or 5, if you live in the area and want to be interviewed on camera for Earbuds, tell your podcast story. And if you're a podcaster, whatever, come down to Comedy Attic on the 14th. And then we're also going to go down to Kentucky and interview fan Lucas Ledsman, who's he's a drill instructor kind of guy, but
He's like Captain America.
He's Captain America. Yeah, he is. He's 115 years old. No, but he was a guy who listened to this show while he was deployed in Iraq, and now he's back stateside. So we're going to interview him for the documentary. So follow that at Earbuds Pod Doc, and of course at Earbuds. I did the same thing at Earbuds Pod Movie and earbudspodmovie.com, the Squarespace site. Check that out. And of course, we are going to be doing fan interviews in Chicago, May 24th at the Downtown Zanies, which is basically on the corner of North and Wells. That's from noon to 4. So again, if you're in the Chicago area and you want to come down and tell your story, we'll do a 10-15 minute interview with you. So check that out.
And we also wanted to mention you guys called our bluff last week with Zane Lamprey, and you have been using the coupon code, and a bunch of orders came in, so we're filling them now. So you guys are listening to the end of the episodes. We appreciate it.
Oh, and I wanted to say this too. June 1st, we are going to be doing fan interviews in Sydney, Australia. We just don't have the location dialed in yet. We're working on that, and then we will be in Newman, Western Australia, interviewing Russell at the mine in this mining town in the middle of nowhere. So
and possibly doing a show.
And maybe doing a show there. And then, of course, we will be in Japan interviewing Senai, big fan Japan.
Senai, Andy, and Andrea.
And getting,
That'll take place at the Budokan Theater, right?
that'll be...
And Tokyo Disney.
Comedy film nerds at Budokan.
Yes, we are going to do episodes over on the road, and we're going to have, Sanai and I are going to have a sword battle. 2 enter, 1 leave. So I might not be coming back if Sanai defeats me, and I would die with honor, gladly, at the hand of Katana. So thank you guys so much.
You're going to fight at that indoor beach, right? The one with the dome.
Right. We're going to go to everywhere Lost in Translation went, and we're going to have a fight. So thank you guys so much for listening. Spoiler Ep 17 in the books. We'll be doing more this summer. Follow Pat online. Go see him live. Thank you once again, Pat Francis.
You're welcome. Thank you.
My name is Graham Elwood.
And I'm Chris Mancini. And as always, remember...
Han shot first.
Is Godzilla out yet?
Hail Hydra.